Hey lambs, welcome to your True Crime Tuesday. I am your host Kai, and in this episode, we're talking about a quick case that makes me want to fight somebody. But not just anybody, the people that we're discussing in this episode. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode and all my episodes are sponsored by my lambs and Patreon, patreon.com/loveandmurder. If you want to be a sponsor and help lamb out and also get great benefits for yourself, then come on over and join us in patreon.com/loveandmurder. We'll love to have you there. On February 8th, 2023, a call was placed to the Sandusky Police Department in Sandusky, Ohio. The call came from a hospital and said that a 4-month-old baby girl had suspicious injuries on her. They told the police that the child had several cracked ribs, a broken wrist. You know what? Let me rephrase that. I don't want to say the child. The baby had several cracked ribs, a broken wrist, a broken leg, and 2 bilateral subdural hematomas. Basically, she had brain bleed. And in their medical opinion, this was consistent with child abuse. Because of the severe injuries, medical professionals transported the baby from Firelands Regional Medical Center to a hospital in Cleveland, Ohio that specializes in pediatric care. So when police arrived, they spoke with the medical staff first, and doctors showed the police the baby's medical records, which in the medical records, they said that the injuries were caused by, quote, non-accidental trauma, and that her injuries included, quote, chronic feeding disorder, oral aversion, seizure-like activity, multiple rib fractures, a leg fracture, a wrist fracture, and the subdural hematomas. Now, as an investigator, this is where my eye kind of starts to twitch and my right hand balls up. And I'm trying to calm myself down before I have to go and interrogate these parents. Because I don't know, might not be the parents. This might have happened in the babysitter's house and they weren't aware. I don't know, but my eye is twitching by this time. So the police went over to the parents, a 24-year-old named Devin Mims and a 19-year-old named Sondra VanWhy, because VanWhy is your baby coming in this clinic looking like this? So she answered the question. Sondra said that the reason they brought the baby into the hospital was because she had started choking while she was eating. She stopped breathing for about 10 seconds and then went completely limp. And then when she regained consciousness, she said that the baby wouldn't stop crying. Both parents said that I don't know how the baby had such extensive injuries. I have no idea. And the father, Devin, said, well, you know, I may have gotten a little, quote, rough when I was tickling her. Maybe that's why she has broken ribs, freaking brain bleed, seizure-like activity, rough tickling. This is why I can't be a police officer, because I would have literally forgotten and just slugged him in his face. I can't be a police officer. Like, sir, that's what you came up with? I was tickling her rough, and this is why this all... Anyways, so unlike Kai, police stayed calm and said, tickling doesn't produce multiple fractured ribs, sir. We're not stupid. No matter what you may think, we're not stupid. So then Devin said, well, you know what? Actually, I just remembered that there was this one time that I accidentally dropped her when she was in her baby rocker. To which, as an investigator, I would have been like, how high was that baby rocker? Was it on the 31st floor? And then, I don't know, you accidentally dropped her out the window and this is how she suffered all of this? How high was that baby rocker? Because even if it fell from the bed, if it fell from the kitchen countertop, even if it fell from the frickin' ceiling, for some reason you just had it on the ceiling and it fell over, she wouldn't get all these injuries. So I need you to tell me, please, were you skydiving when she fell out of the baby rocker? How high was it? What people don't realize are babies are really resilient. So if a baby falls, they're not necessarily going to crack their skull open. But I guess they're so young, 24 and 19, and this is probably their first child, that they figure, well, they did this. I dropped her off of the bed. I dropped her off of the baby rocker. None of that. She might get a bruise. That's literally the most. And she'll start crying. That's literally the most that's going to happen. In a normal child, they're children with brittle bone syndrome and other stuff. But in a normal child, that's literally what's going to happen. They'll get a bruise. Unless they bash their head on 15 tables on the way down. Well, then my question is, why do you have so many tables in close proximity to each other? So then the police asked, well, could this have happened in daycare maybe a babysitter while you're all at work? And the parents said, no. The baby doesn't go to the babysitter. We each just take turns watching her. While one is at work, the other watches her. So then police said, well, thank you for all that information. You have the fucking right to remain silent. Everything that you say can and shall be, and absolutely shall be, used against you in a court of law. I guess that wouldn't be reading the rights, huh? Because I cursed in it. Again, can't be police. So Devin is facing 1 count of felony assault on a child and 2 counts of child endangerment and is being held on an $80,000 bond, while Sondra is facing 1 count of child endangerment and is being held on a $20,000 bond in the Erie County Jail. Okay, wait, why didn't they just get the same thing? Is it because he said he was tickling her and he dropped her and she just stood there and was like, I don't know? Why didn't they get exactly the same charges? I don't understand why the mom got less. Quote, she suffered 4 broken ribs, a broken arm, a broken leg. She has 2 brain bleeds and she has trouble with her vision now. She's suffering from seizures. This is one of the worst cases of abuse I have ever seen. And this was a quote from the Sandusky Police Chief, Jared Oliver. Then Sandusky Police Detective Carissa Cruz said, quote, the injuries to that child, it was pure torture for that little baby for months. The baby is currently in the Erie County Children's Services. And because of the abuse, the continued abuse, alleged abuse, since I have to use the word alleged abuse, that's why she had the feed-in disorder and the oral aversion. Now, as I always remind you, if you or someone you know may be victim to child abuse, do not turn a blind eye to it. Please contact the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-A-CHILD. That's 1-800-422-4453. Or you can also go to their website. They have live chat services on there. You can find all that information in the show notes below. I know some people are like, oh, not my child, not my problem. If you see signs of child abuse going on, and I don't mean you saw a parent spanking their child on the hand, that is not child abuse. I'm saying you saw a grown man cock back his fist and punch a 5-year-old in the face. That's child abuse. Those are the differences. A light twat on the butt is not child abuse. A cigarette burn to the face is child abuse. A light twat on the hand is not child abuse. Seeing multiple bruises continuously all over a little child is child abuse. Well, you know what? Let me not say that is child abuse. You need to do your research to find out why that child has multiple bruises, because literally could be a medical issue. So I don't want to say you constantly see a child with a bunch of bruises and you just automatically say child abuse, because it could be a medical issue. But after you do all that research, or you just call for a welfare check, because, you know, the parents of those kind of children would definitely have medical information on hand and they'll just show the police whatever. But don't act like it's none of your business, because these children are being raised in these serious conditions. And people are just literally, I've done so many episodes where people just turn a blind eye to it. If a child is crawling out of a freaking window, crawling over the fence, and you see a 16-year-old that looks as small as a 9-year-old begging you for food in your trash can, pretty sure that's child abuse. I'm pretty sure that's when you need to start stepping in. And if one department doesn't help and you're seeing they're not helping and it's not getting better, call another department and call another department and call another department. Obviously, they don't have anybody at home or outside of the house, meaning other family and friends helping them. Maybe you can help them. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'm going to step off my high horse now. That's all I have for you for this True Crime Tuesday. Let me know what you think about this case. I don't have a poll for this case. But don't forget, Sunday's episode, I did have a poll, and it was asking if you felt sorry for Kenneth. I put the poll out late, so that's why I'm reminding you to go back and answer that poll so I can read your poll answers in next week's full episode. So the poll is on Spotify, or you could just answer the question in the comments below on whatever platform you're on. Speaking of polls, so last week we didn't have a True Crime Tuesday, but week before we did. And remember, that was the episode where it was a case of mistaken identity. This guy was held in jail for 17 of 19 years and it wasn't even him. And when he was in jail, he found out that there's this guy who looked exactly like him. So I told y'all to go to the website, murderandlove.com, check out the picture, the side-by-side pictures, and then the poll question was, if you were on the jury based on the picture, based on his records, would you have said guilty? And it was completely even. It was 3 options and it was completely even. I asked, yes, it looked like him. 33% of y'all said that. No, you wouldn't have found him guilty based on the evidence. And 33% of y'all chose that. And honestly, I don't know. And 33% of y'all chose that. So this was the most just undecisive answer ever. So I guess I can't blame the jury. Even my lambs were undecided. So there you have it, lambs. So let me hear from you in the comments below what you think about this episode. As usual, sorry for the cursing, but really not sorry because this episode pissed me off. And I'll see you in the next rant. Bye.